A very good morning to all the viewers today. I would like to thank you all for being logging in on this webinar. I would like to first introduce myself. My name is Rizwan, and I'm the director for ACE Personal Resource Development, a training company involved in training and developing individuals and corporate in achieving creative excellence. That's what I believe in. That's why my company name stands as ACE. I believe that everyone needs to achieve creative excellence in whatever field they are in, and I help them through my training and coaching programs to achieve that creative excellence. And during this process, the last month I had conducted a 6 days CTT program uh, about training and development specifically. And I had the honor and privilege of meeting and interacting with some great personalities who have attended my TTT program. Of them all, I'm sure you have had other webinars you have gone through. Today, I have the privilege of introducing you to Mr. Rahul Raj. He's a well-known personality in the training and development industry, and I would like to give him an opportunity to introduce himself, and we would really love to know more about him and his industry and business. Welcome, Mr. Rahul Raj.
First and foremost, a lot of gratitude and thanks for allowing me and giving me a chance on this platform to come and interact with your audience. My name is Rahul, that you have already told the world, and I have been in the training industry for almost a little over than 2 decades. For last half a decade, I've been specifically working at the grassroots level of forming the platforms and working at the basics of the training ecosystem. So we have an organization by the name ITF, International Trainers Federation, India's first such a venture, wherein we are aggregating and consolidating the entire training and development industry. So we keep working with the training professionals, and we keep trying to make some indent into the ecosystem and create a structure at the basic level. So that is what we are involved into, and it was a great pleasure to attend your 6 day webinar. And there was a huge amount of value add, I must say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rahul, for introducing yourself. And it's very humble of you to not give us all the details, because I understand you have a massive amount of knowledge and expertise in this industry. And during our TTT program, you also were accredited with a kind of a certification. If you would like to tell us more about that.
Yeah, it was a wonderful program. The design of the program was excellent, and the timing of the program was even more better, because this is the time when the training and development industry and the players in the training and development industry are graduating to a new system of online training. And the crux of the entire program was around the virtual instructor-led training programs. So it was a very wonderful program. The timing was wonderful. The content and the sequence was excellent. It was a revision of the training concepts, along with joining the dots and giving us a roadmap how we can go and move from the from the live environment, from the actual environment, from the classroom environment to the virtual environment. So a number of tools were taught to us, which were wonderful. And I personally did not know much about the tools out there, and I gained myself a lot. And the training is not about just the knowledge dispensation. It's more about creating a environment wherein the mind gets primed enough to learn, to open up, to get into that learning zone. And that was the highlight of the entire training program, the entire 6 days. Finding out time on 6 consecutive days is very tough for any professional. But the program was being delivered and in such a engaging manner that we had no other option but to allocate the time and be present with Rizwan Saab for the value adds. It was an
No,
excellent
I
program.
remember, Rahul ji, you shared with us one of your achievements during those 6 days. That's what I'm referring to. I think we
Okay.
were really celebrating that because it was a real achievement for you. So we would love to if you would share with us that.
I would say this training program was a lucky mascot for me because during this training program itself, I got on board with as the board member for education and training and development for IOVRF. IOVRF is the Institute of Valuers. It's equivalent to that what chartered accountancy is. ICA is for chartered accountants. Similarly, in the field of valuers, it is IOV, Institute of Valuers. And I got a chance to serve the board member with the little knowledge and experience that I have. And it was during this training program itself, so I consider it to be a lucky mascot that while I was upgrading myself, the world gave me a opportunity. The universe gave me an opportunity to take whatever I was gaining to the next. And in fact, I've already held a virtual training program, VILT, Virtual Instructor-Led Training Program at IOVRF, trying to add on and pass on what Rizwan Saab gave to me. I always believe that we are just channels. So whatever we are blessed with, it's not just alone for ourselves. It definitely upgrades our production, our productivity, our deliverance. But most of the times, it is not to be held back. It is to be passed on. The baton needs to be passed on so that the race continues. We are very small people. Just we play a very small, insignificant
Very
kind of
humble.
a role.
Very humble thoughts, Mr. Rahul. Uh, Another question I always ask my participants because uh, from what it was earlier in the year, and suddenly this whole change, a shock wave went through the whole uh, global scenario. Uh, Many of us experienced something that the first moment of moving into the COVID scenario, what was your thought process and what was your perspective from your training industry perspective? And then as we proceeded in the coming months and what we are today, how was your thought process and what was the initial thought process and what do you think right now as to what you are seeing right now in the training industry?
See, I'm a very normal person coming from a very humble background, and I operate in a very humble environment. And so my reactions were absolutely the same as that of a general person. In the initial phase, we were all shocked. We did not know what was happening around us. The pandemic hit us, and it hit us real fast and real big. So in the initial first few weeks, I was equally shocked as the rest of the people. And then we started to realize that probably this will stay for a longer period. This is not just another situation in the life. This is about this will change our entire perspective towards life. And when we talk of life, professional world is just a part of it. So we realize that the things and the business environment post this pandemic would be different. So we just started evaluating, exploring what these changes could be. It was all about making presumptions. We still are not very sure how the market will be. We are all working on presumptions with the little knowledge that we have about the way developments are happening internationally. And we at ITF and I personally, we have changed the entire ideology towards the training and development industry. We were already in a process of change, but this pandemic gave us a boost. Many a times people say that this pandemic has hit them hard. I don't consider it to be such. Pandemic of COVID-19 is just a chance for us to relook. And if we are able to relook on what we are doing, how we are doing, and why we are doing, then we can definitely take up the challenge and we can wade through the waters. It's not so much of a deal. In fact, it's just that we see it from the slide that the entire world has been fast forwarded by 5-10 years. So
Exactly.
whatever would have been the market in say 2025 and
Beyond.
ahead of it, that we have already encountered in the month of say May or June. We started experiencing it. The Indian industry specifically was graduating and snailing towards with a very slow pace towards the online education. But with this pandemic, thanks to this pandemic, everything has got accelerated. Now we have got the students have got a wider choice of curriculums, wider choice of instructors, wider choice of methodologies, and even the trainers have got a wider coverage now. So the demographic challenges, the moment you go online, gets tackled, and that is what has happened. So I think everything has been good. So
Because
it's all how
yes,
you look at it.
because Rahulji, because I think all these technologies that we are seeing right now, they were all existent well beyond this particular situation, the pandemic. The only thing as humans or as individuals, we never took it upon ourselves to really put it into our business process or really make optimum use of it. Okay, there are disadvantages of it. I do agree. As a trainer, you do not have the face to face or the emotional connect with so many participants when you're doing a virtual. I would not say that it's as good as a classroom, but I think
I
this
would
is
disagree, sir. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I
yes,
would disagree.
right.
There is, had we attended your live training program, the emotional connect and the relationship that would have developed. This relationship that we developed over the online is nowhere inferior or nowhere weaker. I
Thank you
hope you
very
will agree to that. So if
thank
we
you.
are able to develop it over the online environment, then we don't need to actually compare it. There, the situations are different. It's something like, uh, comparing the regular roads, the highways with a Formula One circuit. They are for different purposes. The
Exactly.
online education cannot replace the classroom education at all, but the need of the hour is wherein smaller programs, shorter programs, quicker programs can be delivered. We have crossed the era. We started with the Stone Age. We reached the information technology age. Now we are in the age of creativity. Enough of technology has been developed, and we are now just creatively implementing and utilizing those
Innovating the
technology.
technology. Yes,
Yes.
you are very absolutely right. You're there in Delhi and I'm here in Mumbai. But for the last few months, we have been in constant contact with each other, and I do not feel any disconnect between our discussions and the way we have developed our relationship and understanding of each other, and the rapport that we have built in the last a few months or a month or so. And I really appreciate having this opportunity to meet real great personalities like yourself and many others in the training industry. And it is only through this that we can connect globally with many of us and be able to touch many lives worldwide. We are no more restricted to our territories or our regions, and we are no more restricted to particular sectors, basically. So we have a broader spectrum of reach and a broader audience that we can cater to in different types of training process. You're absolutely right. And you, as you rightly said, classroom training in its own way is a different system altogether. So we cannot really compare the two in any way. So going forward, I absolutely agree that we need to get used to this new technology. And age is not a barrier. I think many of us, we say that, okay, I'm not really suited to the
Good that
new
you mentioned age, sir. I have a perspective about age and the modern the way things are moving out. We all have children, and we have been witnessing the online education in the children also. Uh, but we have seen that the classroom training cannot be replaced by the online training in terms of effectiveness when it comes for the children, and that
exactly.
is where the concept of pedagogy and andragogy comes into play. We generally deal, we trainers generally deal with the adults. For us, online education is the way to go. But in terms of pedagogy, the methods and the kind of environment that has to be created, that cannot be created online. So in the formal sector, I suppose the classrooms need to be back, and they will not be so online education can be just an add-on there. However, for the andragogy and the adult learning environment, maybe online becomes the primary, with the reinforcements coming in from the classroom environments. So I suppose that the entire training programs can be conducted online, and then a doubt clearance session can be a one-to-one live environment. So we are all in a flux right now. Things are just shaping up.
But
What I can see is, yes.
What would you say, Rahulji, to some of the platforms that have actually come into play in the student sector also, into the school students? There are some brands which have really been accepted uh, on a universal level for their.
I hope you won't mind if I keep sipping my tea.
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
Sorry, I can't offer you through the virtual platform.
It is your cup of tea that I am sipping, sir. Thank you so much.
We have several brands. I do not want to name any brand, but we have brands which are actually catering to the school sector, to the children sector, and they are successfully being able to address the needs of those children through those virtual or visual 3D modulation systems, which is very much accepted by the students. So I'm just curious about that. What do you think?
So if you look at the industry, most of the platforms, tools, and the training aids that come in are not coming from the perspective of a proper research about the effectiveness with the training groups. So I'm talking again of the adults and the children. Most of them are for the commercial needs. Since schools are a big market, there are many platforms that have come up. But let's move to the basics. Wherein the motivation of the training and the motivation of education is there. How many of the kids are automatically self-motivated? The adults are self-motivated. You can give them the online platform, but when it comes to the children, it is the connect between the student and the participant, these pupil and the teacher, which creates a wonderful magic around the education.
A relationship, yes.
Yes, that relationship is the magic. Now that happens with the children only in a physical environment. Please understand that we as adults, we have a control over our emotions and we know our goals. The children do not need it. That is why you will find the relationship and the emotional connect between two adults is very different from that of a teacher and a pupil. The lower the classes, there the teacher is not a teacher. She is a mother-like figure.
Exactly.
Why? Why do we need a mother-like figure in education? Because she connects at the emotional level and creates a bond first, and then she motivates the child to learn something new. Now that is not possible over online. The physical touch cannot be compensated. Even in the adults, do you think a long distance relationship really works?
That's what I'm saying.
No, it doesn't.
Emotions are always there in any learning process, because unless you have human touch or emotions connecting a training program, they do not really respond. The rapport is not built between the trainer and the participant, because you rightly said there are many virtual training programs, but not everyone is able to connect with their participants on the same level. You can give them as many tools as you can. It doesn't really compensate for that disconnect that the participant and the trainer have. You may try out the best of tools. If you do not have that skill of connecting with your participants, it really boils down to zero, I would say, right?
True. And as we move to the global market and the virtual market, which doesn't have any boundaries, which doesn't understand the concept of the nations as such, it considers everyone to be on a globe. So there we must go with two paradigms. So I think, I'm just putting my point of view. that not everyone in the industry is there to be trained by me. So I cannot train everyone in the industry.
Yes.
And not everyone would like to be trained by me. So it's both ways. And this happens. I cannot train everyone because I cannot connect with everyone.
You're right.
Now we will have certain again people vouching and going ahead very vocally that you can connect with everyone and come up to me and I'll train you. It doesn't happen because we are bundles of energies. Energies respond to energies. When there are two incompatible energies, whatever tool you may use, they will not infuse. So when I go to the industry, I must go with a clear understanding that everyone sitting out there in the global ecosystem is not to be trained by me.
You're
And
right.
from the participant's perspective, also, we cannot get trained with by everyone. I can give you thousands of examples of the trainers around us whom you would not like whose program you would not like to attend
I got
because of the sheer energy and the way they deal with the participants. It's not that they are bad.
you. Yeah.
It's just that they have got a different energy. Now we are of a subtle, a little base level energies is what yourself and I carry. There are people who carry high amounts of energies,
Okay.
and they are
Yeah,
always,
energized.
"Ye karo, ye karo, ye karo."
Yes, yes.
So they're not just motivational speakers. Even in the general training, even in the skill industry, you'll find people with high energies being able to connect with people with high energies and pass on the techniques and the tools and the skills. And not everybody would be the same. While
Right.
a person with a subtle energy would not be able to be comfortable with people with the high energy. So it's all energies. We cannot ignore it. We cannot ignore the science part of training. And though unfortunately, even at the global level, I would say the science of training is in a very nascent phase. In a very nascent phase. Like just for example, if people would you would ask the trainer across the globe anywhere the reasons for the core reason for an ice breaker, they would not understand it. They would not give you the right perspective. The most common answer that you will receive is that it creates a environment in the training. What is the environment? Why is this environment? What is this tool? How do you choose the icebreaker? It's not about creating a good atmosphere or a lively atmosphere or ensure that your participants will start talking. The icebreaker is a perfect tool and the first tool that is used in a training to get the focus, the attention of the participants on the topic. So it's not about introducing.
And
When we introduce,
Mr. Rahul, sorry to say that icebreaker is taken as very lightly, but
correct.
yeah, but the
That is what
icebreaker is
I
the most important part of any training program.
that's the first tool.
Exactly.
That is the initiation of the tool. तो जैसे हम लोगों के संस्कृति में है that there is a sanskaran that is done at when the child begins his life. We do certain sanskars. We initiate him. So it's like that significance in the training also. We are initiating the training program, and that is where the science comes in. So if we don't understand the science, then maybe we are just doing a hit and trial.
Because when we study about icebreakers in depth, it is understood that the icebreaker is a tool which actually brings together different personalities. There are introverts, there are extroverts. As you rightly said, there are some with high energy levels, some with a very mid level of energy levels. So that is very important for you to be able to bring them all together and try to create a balance in the interaction that is needed.
Yes, and there is a hidden agenda also.
Yes.
The hidden agenda is about reinforcing the TNI.
Yeah,
it is through the icebreakers we go ahead with the hidden agenda to also understand the reason why we have been told they are in here. Is it the same reason why they are here?
Right.
Because if it is not there, then on the go, we have to redesign the content and the curriculum, because training program is a program can be called a training only when it is systematic, it is planned intervention, which results in two things. The first thing is an increase in comprehension of the topic that is the subject. So either his understanding increases or there is a permanent change in behavior.
That's
Now,
right.
until unless we get a clear-cut indication from the participants that whatever is being intended, we are trying to increase the knowledge level or we are trying to change his permanent behavior. Is this what he wants? If this is not what he wants, then howsoever wonderful
You need to
content you may
modify
bring,
or you need to address their needs basically based on that their responses to the icebreaker, and that's the skill of a trainer, because you go through this when you go through a 6-day program, you constantly are looking at people's responses and what they are looking for, and you need to keep on modifying your presentation and your
absolutely. And
your
we witnessed that in your
objective.
program. We definitely witnessed that in your program. Third day, you definitely changed not only the content but also the PowerPoints were modified to suit the audience that you had. It was a wonderful exhibition of what a trainer should be.
Yes,
So,
what
please
we
accept
always
my humble
thank you very much,
congratulations
sir.
for
I
that.
really appreciate your observation and your compliments. But I would like to say every day after each session, I used to have a discussion with my team. We used to review whatever happened throughout that session so that we could be more equipped and enabled to address the participants' needs and see what were they asking for, what are we going to be able to provide them the next day. So that is a continuous process of the 6 days of redesigning or addressing the participants' needs. So thank you very much for that observation also, because you are an expert in this field. You have that precise thought and observation qualities of understand how a good training program really works. So, thank you very much for your inputs. The very important question that I would like to ask you is, being from a training industry, having so much experience, in-depth knowledge, and so on, what brought you to this particular 6 days TTP program? What really clicked when you registered for this TTP program? What was that one thing that you observed or you thought would be interesting to be a part of?
See, as I told in the introduction, we are working at the grassroots level. So when we are working at the grassroots level, we need to continuously keep an eye on what is happening in the industry. What are the kind of training programs that are happening? What is the kind of syllabus that is being propagated? Whether the what is being promoted is actually being taught or not. So we need to understand the market. We need to understand what is happening in the name of training. And in that process, I do attend a number of training programs. I do attend them with the purpose and the objective of going ahead and understanding what the other players are doing in the market, and whether it is actually aligned to the needs of the market. And when I registered for this program, I had come with a clear intention of only focus was to try and understand whether the objectives which have been, because the moment it was marketed as a built program, virtual instructor-led training program, that struck me. Whether this program will live up to the expectations or not. Because introducing the people to a virtual environment, it takes experience, number one. It takes a very clear understanding. And third, a comfort level with the technology. So I have been attending number of built programs, and I wanted to attend this program to understand whether the promises that we collectively as the training industry are making to the participants, whether we are living up to it or not. So that was the purpose with which I came in. But I had set in the training program also on the open forum, and I repeat, I was impressed. I was impressed that the entire training program, people who are conducting it have clarity. Number one, they knew what they are conducting. Number two, they had a vision, a clear vision of not making us experts in the online platforms, but initiating us, motivating us, and giving us that carrot to go ahead and try the virtual training platforms. The Kahoot that we were exposed to Kahoot, we were exposed to Padlet and Mentimeter, just three to name. But it was done in such a fashion that it motivated us to go ahead and try. And that is the success of a program. When we are in the adult training environment, if we are able to ignite and inspire the participants to go ahead and explore, that is all that a trainer can actually do. And that was done beautifully, and I was amazed, I was impressed, and I could not hold myself back but to go ahead and make a public declaration also on the platform that I have attended multiple training programs, and this is one of the training programs which I am impressed with. I'm not a very easy man, what very high standards. I don't get impressed very easily. Even if I try to, I don't get. So, but this time I was bored. I was bored over. So when you meet the Bradman of the training industry,
Oh, sir, thank you very much, sir.
You got to. So we all, I with all sincerity and humility would like to mention it, and on this platform also, that it's not about how much or how advanced is your training content. It is about how much of mastery you have on the content that you are delivering. That is the key. And I could clearly see your mastery over the topics that you propagated and you promoted. And it was worth the appreciation. And thank you so much for bringing it.
Thank you very much for being a part of my TTT program. It was a real opportunity for me to be evaluated by a person who has in-depth knowledge of evaluation, in-depth knowledge about training. I wouldn't have asked for anything more than to have you in my participant list. And yes, as you
I suppose it's mutual, sir. I suppose it's mutual.
I really appreciate you. You gave us a hard time. I really thank you for that, because that was needed for us. We didn't want easy participants who would just take whatever we deliver and just go home. And you really showed us what it means to be able to address the participants' needs, where we need to improve, what is the demand of the times, the demand of the participants. And on a day-to-day basis, it was an eye-opener for us also. And as you really, because when you started out in the first days, you really gave us that evaluation eye. You really took it from a lens. You watched every move, you observed everything that we were doing, and you gave us the input. And that really helped us going forward in the coming days to really come up to your standards of, expectations. And that really helped us improve in the 6 days. So apart from you, there were other experienced people like Dr. Kamath, that were Guru Raj ji, and so on and so forth. All of you really helped us to become more agile, become more flexible to address the demands of the participants. Because, as you know, apart from your expertise, there were also some juniors or some newcomers in the industry, and we were able to fairly address many of their because, as you rightly said, you cannot be able to achieve 100% satisfaction with all your participants. There's always going to be someone who might have a better idea about how the training could be done. So that is really, thank you very much for expressing your point of view about why you wanted to go into this particular TTT program. And as you said, you always keep on joining training programs, and you found this interesting. What was your thought process? What are the most important points do you think really stuck with you and that is going to take you, although your experience, I'm sure you do not need to take anything from my training, but what is that thing that you think will be really useful going forward in a training industry from this training
Still, one of the basic things that I saw being reinforced in the training is I cannot grade it as a takeaway, but I would grade it as a reinforcement, which was the objective of when we say a wild training program, we are taking it for granted that people are already trainers and now they are graduating from one environment to the other. So for at that point of time, a reinforcement of certain basics of training need to be done. And one point, one concept wherein the Asian training programs really lack is the design part. So whether you go in for the Scrum model or whether you go in for the Agile model or whether you go in for ADDIE model, or there are at least 14, 15 type of models which the industry uses, ADDIE being the most popular. I don't know why ADDIE is so popular. Maybe because most of the trainers have been talking about ADDIE, so it is the ADDIE model. There are other models also, but that part needs to be reinforced. And when I saw that coming into the training program and being discussed, and at least the emphasis was there. So it was not just a touch and go kind of a topic. It was a topic that was conducted with a deeper understanding, wherein the discussions were done in a non-technical manner. That was again a point of appreciation. If when we are not very confident of the topics, we start using jargons. And that's the easiest tool a trainer or a expert, a subject matter expert uses. He puts jargons. But de-jargonizing the entire training program, a trainer brings the cookie on the lower shelf. So he doesn't lift you up always. He also many times places the cookie from the higher shelf to the lower shelf, depending on your the ability of the person. That is what is I witnessed, and the way ADDIE model was presented to us in a very layman's language, that has stuck somewhere. That probably a de-jargonized way of presenting the ADDIE model is what the industry requires right now, and that created one beautiful thing. With the de-jargonized method of putting the ADDIE model, the connect between the participant and the trainer was absolutely superb, and irrespective of the level of the participant. So they were very experienced people in the participants list, and they were absolute freshers. Both were able to understand the concept very well. When you went the event in the presenting it into a very a de-jargonized discussion mode. So a number of tools were demonstrated, and it became very effective at the ADDIE model. I really hope all the participants went back understanding this basic of training, because without the design part of the training, you can do, I mean,
Yes.
Let's leave it at that.
As we were talking during the program, the big daddy of training is the ADDIE model, because that's where it all revolves around that fundamental pillars. The 5 pillars which around which all the training basically revolves around, and you cannot neglect any one of them. You cannot say one is important and the other is not, because any one of them missing does not really serve the purpose of the training at all. So the TNA, the design, the development, all of them are equally important, and any of the spokes of the wheel, if not present or not addressed, really does not give you the training objectives or the outcomes that you desire in a training program. So that's so very important.
It brings the effectiveness a part of the training. So it's something like we can talk of efficiency only when you are effective.
But they are
If
still
you're not
different
effective,
aspects. They are different aspects, but they are still interlinked, you would say, right?
correct, correct. And together they bring in the effectiveness. It's a sequential model. If you follow a sequential set of steps, then the effectiveness in the training program comes. Once the effectiveness comes, then you can use the various tools to create the efficiency. If I have a rifle and the rifle doesn't shoot, the rifle is to shoot. If it doesn't shoot, then howsoever good the muzzle be, howsoever comfortable the holding posture be, or howsoever comfortable the butt be, it doesn't make any sense. So the gun has to be first be effective, and then we can talk of the efficiency. We can talk of the recoil. We can talk of the noise. We can talk of the accuracy of the bullets being fired. We can talk of all that. And similarly, in the field of training, the ADDIE model gives you the framework. It is the basic structure of a training program. What is to be told, when it is to be told, how much is to be told. These are all the things which are decided in a sequential fashion. And that brings the effectiveness first. Then we can talk of making it a more engaging program. Then we can talk of creating a better environment. We can talk of the efficiency parts later on. So that was you discussed it at length. Sufficient amount of time was given. Sufficient discussions were held. And the third principle of adult learning is that you need to respect the experience that the adults bring with them, their perspectives. So that was a wonderful demonstration, and that is why I say that I was very impressed about your program, because I could find the basics of the training being implemented consciously and being demonstrated effectively. So the adult learning principles were actually being demonstrated. They were not just being talked about. And that is what we find mostly. People talk about the concepts, they don't demonstrate it. They miss out on the chance of actually demonstrating those concepts in their training program itself. So then it becomes that you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. I will not do it.
You're so very right. Trainers become, gyanis. That is something which we need to drop now, because when you're talking to expert audience, that posture basically sometimes backfires, because you're talking to experienced people. They already have experienced a lot of their life going through team building, goal settings, and so on. There's not much you can give them apart from some new concepts of thought process. Now, another thing is that when we were discussing ADDIE, I observed I asked a question: does evaluation end here? And you actually took it forward and gave an elaborate explanation that evaluation it never ends, and it's a cyclic process of again going back to the ADDIE. It keeps on moving, revolving, bringing in more strategic development in the organization, organizational strategies, personal ASAs, keep on upgrading them to the external and internal environments of the organization. So this whole ADDIE model never ends, basically, isn't it? So that's something interesting, which you could also give some idea to the viewers.
Sure. My experience with Quality Council of India in my short stint of 3 years with Quality Council of India, I was on multiple forums platform on QCI, wherein we were doing the job, we were interested in the job of going ahead and analyzing the various training interventions from the government to the public. Now, I've been blessed. I'm a blessed man, I must say, with all my humility and with all the gratitude to the Almighty. I must say, in my short career, I've been blessed to work with some of the most powerful minds. And at QCI, again, I work with a whole, the age difference between the youngest of the team and me was almost my age. So I was 35 at that point of time, and the youngest person that I could find was 65 plus. So I was automatically into the child mode there, and they were on the parent mode. So they used to love to pass on the baton, train me, teach me, and that is how I started observing and evaluating the things from the micro and macro both levels. So when it's a government program, we have to see the things at the micro level where the changes will be made, and then we have to come back at the macro level. What will be the implication over a period of time of the intervention that has been made? If both of them are synchronized with the 5-year plans and the national education policy, then only the program goes through, or else the program needs to be reworked. So that was the job that we were doing. So it is in that perspective that I started viewing that once a training program is held, it is because of a specific need, existing specific need at this point of time.
At this point of time, yes.
So you need the RD model to create a effective training program to remove that need, rather to fulfill that need.
Exactly.
But the moment a need is fulfilled, the next level need automatically comes up.
Exactly.
Like if we are talking of connectivity, the telecom connectivity, the moment we connect the last mile with a telecom facility, the moment we put the mobile in his hand, there comes the need of a good internet also.
Exactly.
The moment we fulfill the need of the 4G there, then they want the content. Exactly. So the moment we give the content, then they want a application of that content. So whatever they are being exposed to, they would like to see that in their area also.
So needs are never addressed. There's no end to the needs, and as we say, change is a constant, and
Absolutely.
that basically runs the training industry. Basically,
Absolutely.
A human being, there's always a need for something new. There's always a need to excel in his capabilities, in his skills, and his attitude and his behavior, and that constant will never end. And a training industry is constantly evolving because the demand of the human being is constantly evolving. So, as you rightly said, evaluation does not end there. It keeps on going, and it's definitely needed for constant improvement of the individual and the organization as a whole. So, if any company thinks that...
One thing to add there, it's not just the evaluation. Even training is a constant process.
Exactly.
We don't end the training ever.
Exactly.
And that is where the term L&D comes in, learning and development. The organizations don't have a training department. The training department is a part of the L&D because we keep learning constantly. And we learn from the environment, and we learn from all the infrastructure that is around us, the entire ecosystem. So learning never happens, ends. Training is the conscious part, conscious intervention to create a specific learning. So these are concepts which are perennial concepts. They don't end. Training never ends.
And development is something which is very necessary for each individual and each organization to be competitive in whatever sector or whatever territory they are in. Because
true, and the beauty is that even if you don't want to change, even if you don't want to develop yourself, you would still develop.
Naturally.
You cannot be the same person. We are not the same person that we were an hour ago.
But a planned and strategic development which is focused, which is goal-oriented, which is strategically for you and for the organization, that's what is needed, right?
Correct. We need to give the disha or dasha. They need not be. So otherwise, change तो हम करेंगे ही. Change हम किसी भी direction में कर सकते हैं. If we are not having a focused, then our ship will keep on drifting. It will not be static in the sea. It will shift. But if we have certain goals, if we have got certain benchmarks to achieve, then we make interventions so that we achieve the growth in that particular direction. And that is where training comes into play. And all the concepts of training come into play. All training is a dynamic industry. The assessments will be dynamic. They are continuously happening. Even throughout the training program, the students are being assessed and the trainer is being assessed. Are being assessed. Even the AC that is there in the training room, the infrastructure is also being continuously assessed.
Exactly.
So we keep looking at the air conditioner if it is not cooling properly. So it is also being assessed. So assessment is a continuous process. Evaluation is again a continuous process. The moment we are continuously assessing and evaluating, the new needs are coming up. The moment new needs are coming up, that means we need to go and design the next training program, or even go ahead and change the training program. And the training, when we are hitting the training program, we need to go through the sequence of the ADDIE to ensure the effectiveness. So it's a totally
A very
uh,
important question, Rahul ji, because your expertise in evaluation and assessment, I have read many a times in all the curriculum that not many organizations really focus on constructive and organized evaluation of training, and that seems to be a major gap in the training industry, which it is really ironic that not everyone really takes it on as a full circle of achieving ADDIE in all their training programs. Why that? Why do you think that is? Only maybe 15-20% of the really conscious organizations who really think that it's very important to take it on from the strategic point of view do that. So I hope that question is not too obscure or too out of place, right?
no, it's a very valid question. But my response will be in a very simple term. Till a decade back, did the organizations, the corporates, go in for any training called NLP in sales or NLP in management? Did they go in for a training program called EQ? Did they go in for any kind of such programs? No. Why? Because there was nobody to offer it. Today we have got players. Today we have got people who can go ahead and train. When they sell the concept to the organization buys it if it finds it useful. If it sees that yes, this particular concept can improve my productivity, they will buy it. Now, let's talk of evaluation. How many of the people really understand evaluation? How many of the training delivery partners that we have in the industry are ready to be evaluated in all the four aspects or the levels of Kirkpatrick?
Exactly.
They are not interested in it. When the service delivery partner is not interested in being evaluated, and the buyer is typically unknown to the fact that there is a specific evaluation portion also, it has never been talked about. How many of the you'll find multiple training companies, कुछ भी नाम रखो and start off. If you've got some friends in the HR, you can start off a training industry. Even if you don't know anything in training, no worries. Your friend will give you a order. You get a freelancer trainer, execute it, take the money home. 80% of the money will be yours. 20% you will be giving to the freelancers. But the whole thing is that if they are not offering, if they are not inclined, if they are not ready to link their delivery with a return on investment, if a trainer is ready to charge a premium, which every trainer is, at least aspires to charge a premium, but they are not ready to link it with the outcomes.
Deliverable. The deliverables are not there.
They would say, I would train. Now, whether your people will learn or not is your people. After all, I have not hired them. And that is where the whole concept of training fails. It is the trainer who is in charge. It is the trainer who is responsible and accountable. This word accountable is a very unknown word to the Indian industry. I'm not just talking about the training industry. We talk of rights, rights, rights. Every time you'll hear people about fundamental rights. Nobody talks of duties. Nobody even knows what are the 16 fundamental duties that have been put. We'll always talk of rights. And the way we have been groomed up, that is what shows in the training industry also. It is not that the corporates do not want it. They do not know it. The training manager there, does he have any kind of a specific training qualification in it? No. It's usually a MBA HR. Usually is the MBA HR, wherein the training and development was just one chapter. So when he doesn't know that there is something known as the evaluation, then how can he demand in the industry?
But then
So the corporate cannot demand.
Do you think that is because they do not want themselves to be exposed to the fact that they have these gaps in their organization which they do not want to address, like any HR manager or training manager? If he's not being able to address those things and he doesn't want it to be evaluated, he doesn't want it to be disclosed, could that be one of the reasons, basically?
I would not put much of the onus on the organization. I would not put much of the onus there. The main onus is about the trainer.
The trainer is responsible, yes.
The trainer is responsible.
But you remember,
because if the trainer can bring a new concept like EQ in the industry, NLP like NLP in the industry, and sell it
yes,
to the same organization, if they want, they can sell in the concept of Kirkpatrick's evaluation model also. Why don't do it is very obvious, because of the lack of accountability that they want in their training. They don't want to be accountable for the 10,000 rupees or the 1 lakh of rupees that they are charging. They say, you paid me, I conducted the session, let's get over. Next time you want me with you, I'll charge you another time. So it's something like a piecemeal business activity that they are getting into. There's no consulting. Do you find any consulting organizations in the field of training in India? Most of them who are there are in for namesake. They are not ready to become training partners for organization and take responsibility of the training needs and the training environment of their parent company. They want to act as vendors. Come to me whenever you need a training program, take it, pay me my due, I'll move out.
So it's
on both sides.
Sorry to. There was one participant, I do not want to name him. He mentioned that I do freelance trainings, and many a time I ask my clients whether you will help me to evaluate, and there is a disconnect between the vendor and the client, because the client also sometimes says, "Yehi karna hai, ye module karo," or everything is taken care of. Humko TNA humne kiya hai, and you don't need to worry about that. Is that also something which is happening, which is a concern, basically, right?
There are some such people in the setting as our training counterparts in the corporate also, who need to be trained. I would not.
But should be from both ends, you would say.
But why I would still say the onus still lies on the trainer's part or the training industry part is, I simply cannot visualize a situation wherein somebody is spending 10 rupees, and if I can help him understand that this 10 rupees can give you a return of 100 rupees, why will he not get interested? Initially, he may not. But that is where the sales part comes in. That is the what's in it for me kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Now, how does it and why will a training manager get a raise and a promotion? Let's tackle it from that end.
When he brings results. score results when he achieved the outcomes and the goals that he has laid out for the annual training program. That's when he's going to be achieving the goals.
So can we link the evaluation part and present it? How will he be benefited?
Exactly. Yes. What's in it for him,
And
basically?
yes, what's in it for him? The WIFM concept, the basic of sales. So if we are able to promote that, see, you as a training manager, what is your outcome? I will be working as per your outcome. And actually we work as per the organization's desired outcome.
Yes.
There it is the training manager. If we are able to show him that if we go in for the evaluation bit also, how he can prepare a report and show that whatever money has been spent by his hands, by his authority, are coming back to the industry. If we are able to do that, then I don't think any sane person, any sane management person would be so obscure.
Oblivious of this. Yeah.
So whose responsibility is it?
As a trainer, and basically. Yeah.
Training industry. They don't know it. It is we who have to, and we are very selfish that ways. We have sold them all kind of goal setting programs, sales programs, market management programs. Whatever we had to sell, we sold them. But we could not sell them evaluation. That's something that's a little difficult to digest. I would say we have not been able to sell because most of the training people have not graduated and they themselves don't know
evaluation.
So if I don't know it, how can I sell it? Why should I sell it? It's better for me to go ahead and convince him that, see, your people are stressed, take a stress management program for me.
ये लाल गोली, ये पीली गोली, सुबह शाम रात.
और अगर नहीं होगा तो फिर मेरे को बुला देना, मैं नीली वाली गोली भी दूंगा. Advanced program भी है मेरे पास. So that is how it is.
No, that has been something which I wanted to get from an expert in the evaluation industry, because having been the ISTD program, reading through this information that not many organizations really take on evaluation. Maybe one of them is also the cost, I'm sure, because cost is a long-term investment, a long-term investment which needs to be regularly documented, recorded, and the ROI is to be balanced against the cost and whatever has been spent on the training. So that is a organized process.
Is what you are saying is important, but first let there be professionals. Let there be organizations who can offer evaluation. Today you go and search, you will not find even a single organization in India which is offering evaluation as a product. Why so? If there is nobody to sell, how will you do you think will the market develop?
Okay, that's a very frank opinion. You're giving us the inner secrets of the industry, I would say, right? So I think you have
love me for it, hate me for it. I will give you the open.
No, but you are in a very strategic position, a unique position. Am I right? That not many of the people are in your position to have the skill set and the knowledge base that is needed in in-depth evaluation. Okay, evaluation, many people know Kirkpatrick's model and many of them, but the in-depth understanding of how the process works, the stepwise process, is really very important to be able to analyze the analytics of it and all the number crunching, as we call it, right? So you're the expert over there. So thank you very much.
ITF has created the first evaluation tool for gauging the effectiveness of the online training programs. We are already giving this tool, and we are working with 8 government institutions right now, wherein we are evaluating the training programs, the webinars that are being conducted, and collecting the information and the data to gauge the effectiveness. So we have an online tool that ITF has developed, and we are trying to promote. we are trying to work with the government sector as of now, and maybe by the mid of the next year, this tool would be a free tool available for everyone to use.
Oh,
So
great.
that
That
we are
will
working towards
basically
that.
address this concern about evaluation not being done, basically. Maybe that could be
Yes.
a good way to go forward.
Yes.
So, Rahulji, thank you very much
Thank you.
for being a part of this webinar. It was a pleasure to connect with you after some time and be able to share with you like-minded thoughts on the training industry and also relate to you on the TTT, the 6 days TTT program. Just on the closure, I would like to ask you to please address our viewers. What would you like to leave a message to the viewers as we close this session?
Uh, what I tell to the entire world is what I'll tell to your viewers also. Um, don't do anything just for the sake of doing it. If you are doing something, if you have taken up the responsibility to do something, be competent. And when you are at the level wherein you are generating teams, then always remember, a team of monkeys can make your organization a zoo or a circus. You will not be a productive organization. So it starts with us. First, whatever we are doing, we must gain mastery and be competent in it. Second, when it comes to the team, we must get competent people. If you get the monkeys, until unless you want to open a zoo or the circus, if that is then the monkeys are competent for the job. Else, don't go back and curse the employees. They are not responsible. We are the people who bring them on board, and so the entire responsibility is onto us. That is, I work with entrepreneurs in a big way, so that is what I tell to all my people around me, and that's what I'll be telling to your audience also. Thank you so much, Rizwan Saab,
Rahulji,
for
thank you very much. So, from what you have evaluated my 6 days TTT program, I'm sure, are there any room for improvement, or do you think this is a good program to go ahead and share with other people, other participants as we go forward?
I
What
think
is your
it's already a very effective program. It's already a very effective program. Uh, However, if a forum is also attached, if you remember the other day we had discussed that once the people go out of your training program, there must be a forum wherein they can come back
Yes.
with their practical
Yes,
practice.
so connecting with them again, basically, that would be a
Correct.
very important
Correct.
aspect.
Correct.
Thank you very much. Very, very obliged, and I really appreciate being able to chat with you, and
So,
you have given me a great day today. It's a great opening for the day. Thank you very much, Rahulji, and God bless you, and of course, we'll meet again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
of
viewers.
course.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.